So this is Ford versus Chevy, and we only have Ford represented. So I think that means we win by default, right?
Exactly. But here's the thing. It's not that we have more Ford owners in the chat. It's that more Fords are sold. Therefore, we couldn't find a Chevrolet person to represent that company. So this is, it's completely unbiased what we're doing.
Yeah.
Or a Chevy person that could operate teams.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's more
that's bad.
IQ
I'm
starts
just joking.
with a decimal point.
No, I mean Chevy though, like no one could deny the success of the Corvette and their legacy, and the two-door coupe, and that turned into the Camaro. I mean, you could argue about pony cars, but it was neck and neck between the Mustang and then the Camaro, and then Dodge wanted to get in on the action with the Barracuda and Challenger. So they all.
Which came first, the Mustang or the Camaro?
Mustang. In 65. Well, 64 and a half, depending on who you ask.
Yeah. Okay.
No, it was revolutionary. Was the V8 available the first year?
No, I believe it just had 65, late 65, you could get the 289, but it came out with what would that have been? The 306?
170. Yeah, and then they bumped it to like 200, I think. At one point.
I mean, 170 cubic inches, you're not moving at all.
Yeah.
You might hear something under the hood, but it's not moving.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Did you guys see the Ford versus Ferrari movie?
Only 12 times.
Yeah, I know, right? If you weren't a Ford fan, that's a great movie to make you a Ford fan. It's pretty awesome.
I heard people that weren't even in the cars enjoyed it. Just the whole, stepping them up, and because Ford and Ferrari are two household names, so.
Yeah, totally. Well, plus being a true story too is pretty cool.
Yeah,
absolutely. But it also goes to show how a major corporation can influence the drivers. You'll have to forgive me. I don't remember the driver's name, but he lost the race. Well, he didn't lose. It's not a spoiler. He didn't lose. Ford won, if you know your history. But he gave up his personal win because a major corporation knew about racing.
I feel like that's so accurate with life.
Yeah,
it really is.
Yeah.
And it made you realize how many choices were personal and not like, structured and like sit in the boardroom, make a decision. It was like, no, F that guy. I'm going to go out there and, show him who's a top dog.
Right. Totally. Well, Walker, you have Ford and Mopar stuff and Pontiac stuff. I mean, what's your preference?
And a Volkswagen now, which I'm scared to touch, but.
You are an older one.
1986 Westfalia Transporter, like the camping rigs.
Oh, okay, nice.
I'll go for it.
Well, I have Ford and Volkswagen. I use Volkswagens for my daily drivers just because I've had pretty good luck with them. But, what made you get that one?
It was a screaming deal. I could triple my money on it. Plus, my wife's brother is a huge Volkswagen nut, so I know I could call him on anything. And we're going to try to go camping soon once the engine's rebuilt, because it came with a locked up engine, but it was so dirt cheap, couldn't say no. Yeah, but rotary engines scare me. I've had a Corvair in the past, and I was like, I don't know what to even do looking at the back of this thing.
That's why I like my old Ford truck. It's like I know where everything is. I know how it's supposed to look.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It's a little easier. Like even with the Volkswagens we have here, I don't like to touch them because I'm like, man, if I break something, it's going to be way more expensive. I'm not as familiar with it, but yeah. And then
modern stuff, anything under warranty is fine, but once it's outside of warranty, it's scary.
Yeah. Oh, I know, right? Well, I'm out of warranty now. I just passed my 60,000 miles, so. But yeah. And then Quint's got a truck like myself. Yours is 74 too, right, Quint?
Correct. Brooks is fine. But yeah,
Sorry,
it's a 70.
Yeah.
No, that's fine. It's a 74 250 like yours. The body is an F100. The chassis is a 250. But it's a super cab. It's got a non-original 4.9 306, possibly the best motor ever made. And it's got a granny 4-speed transmission. The best option it has is power steering and power brakes, which is, we're all in luxury here. It's got leather seats and it's got a wooden flatbed on the back. So and painted camouflage.
Yeah, I like that
awesome.
truck, man. That's a good looking truck. Well, you almost have yours running too, right? It's almost done, isn't it?
I do. What happened was originally the reason I started this restoration is I went out to start it one day and I didn't have any spark. Come to find out it was a bad ignition module within the distributor I had its own ignition module. We couldn't find a new one, so we wound up swapping to points, which I'm still trying to figure out. But I went, well, since I've come this far, I might as well do the water pump. Well, since I've come this far, I might as well do the alternator. Oh, I might as well do this.
Yeah.
So I've done like 500 hours worth of work to it in the past. I don't even know how long it's been now, but it is. I'm pretty confident I can get it started tomorrow. I've got a couple tricks up my sleeve, a couple things I've read, and then once I get it running, we're doing hub bearings, and then it's ready to go.
You've done a lot of work with that truck. It's going to run like brand new, isn't it?
Oh, the motor was rebuilt in July of 2003, and it's got 22,000 miles on it. So it is, some would call it not even broken in yet. I'd call that very broken in, but yeah, it runs like a sewing machine.
Yeah, totally.
I mean, that's not going to compare to yours. Your motor's fully rebuilt, and I mean, I can see it right there, because you're clearly outside.
Yeah.
I'd be really happy if it was back in the truck.
Right. Well, good thing all your flywheel bolts have been tip-top shape.
Yeah, I know, right? Well, so I was just telling Walker. Well, I told you on the phone too. I just got that bolt distractor kit from Harbor Freight, and that thing worked amazing. So
yeah,
my drill bit battery died, but I just have one more bolt to take out of there, and then I'm just going to clean all those things really good, and then hopefully it bolt back up and be ready to go. Fingers crossed.
It never does, but hopefully it does.
Yeah. As long as I don't have another broken bolt again, man, that's the worst.
Yeah, I'm glad you got new motor mounts though. That'll help.
They didn't look so bad until I got the new ones, and I realized how much they were worn down,
Right.
And I'm sure it'll make a huge difference with the rattle. A little less rattle.
I mean, right now is the easiest time to do all of that. It'll never be easier than right now.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd be super excited to have to pull the engine again. I mean,
right, absolutely. Well, but that's what I told you. It's like, your clutch looked okay, but when's the next time both tranny and engine are going to be out of the truck?
Yeah. Hopefully not.
Hopefully never. Yeah. Or never in your lifetime.
I'll let Shiloh deal with that later down the road.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. That's how she'll get to learn how to overhaul it.
You'll be like, hey, watch my YouTube series and you'll learn how to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, by that time the videos will have 10,000 likes. So
yeah, I know, right? She's pretty funny. I've been trying to upgrade the videos though. I don't know if you guys noticed, but I put music with them now. But
yeah,
you think it's better like that?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, as long as you're not like hitting that YouTube ban where they like mute it for 30 seconds around like copyrighted material, as long as you're using proper music, that's okay.
Well, so I didn't know this, but they have so if you upload a video, when you go to edit the video, you can like in the YouTube editor. So what I do now is I upload it, but I do it as private, so nobody can see it.
That's what
And
I
then I
do.
go Yeah, and then I go to the editor and you can hit add music, and when you hit add music, all of those it'll come up with a thing above it, and you can search different keywords or different things like that, but those are all royalty free songs that you can add to
That's
to
awesome.
transition it. Yeah. So it's pretty the only thing that's kind of weird that I can't figure out is it seems like you can't add the same song more than once. Which to me that seems weird if you're trying to like brand yourself a certain way, you know? Like you would think you could re-add it, but
Within the same video or all together?
within the same video.
Oh,
That's
okay.
interesting. So your introduction and your outro can't be the same, for example.
Right, right. Which to me it seems kind of weird. You'd think they'd,
Yeah.
but it's definitely better than the stagnant, especially with those time lapse videos. I mean, they get boring for sure without something going, you know. But
Yes and no, but one thing you should do there, Bryce, though, is put the timestamp on it.
the
Like,
timestamp?
yeah, so like when you do a time lapse, I don't know how long it's actually taking the whole thing. Like, is this 4 hours? Is this 30 minutes? If you
It's
just put like
usually
a,
Yeah,
you
it's
know,
usually a decent amount of time. That's a good idea.
and
I
then like
wonder.
they know, oh, that's 4 hours worth of work or whatever.
Right, right.
Because
Or I
I've
could.
been curious. I'm like, I just watched that. How long were they out there? You know?
Yeah. Well, you know what's funny is I'll be out there all day, and then it'll be like I don't know, 45-minute video if I'm out there like all day. You know. So that shows you how much it condenses it down. I mean, even sometimes it's gone all the way till nighttime. You know.
Yeah.
But yeah. So who's getting the new Bronco? So Walker has the old one, the classic
Yeah,
one.
I've seen that video.
Thing's awesome.
Oh yeah.
No, well, no, not the green one. You're talking about the one that we put on my channel that he filmed.
Right.
No,
Yeah.
no,
Is that not his?
No,
that
I have
is
a
his.
'66 blue one, the first year
Wow.
of them. And I was at Broncos Super Celebration this weekend or this past couple of days, man. We were sitting in the new Broncos and checking them out, and I'm sold.
Oh yeah.
And the kids, I let even the ones you weren't supposed to touch. I let our twin 2.5-year-olds are like, just go, just do whatever. Let the Ford people stop you. Like they were climbing stuff and everything.
What are those things going for?
They start under 30, like 29 something for a 2-door manual.
That's so
They're coming
bad.
after Jeep hardcore because they're actually cheaper than Jeep. Every trim basically is cheaper than a Jeep.
That's pretty cool.
It's going to make Jeeps cheap though, so you have to think about that. I think the Wranglers are going to drop the first couple years.
Well, but
Yeah,
in my research I've done with any Chrysler product, this doesn't mean it's always been the case, but when like say Ford or Chevrolet lower the price, it's because they found ways to cut the price. Chrysler tends to just lower the quality.
yeah,
And not trying to slam them, but that's just been the experience I've had, especially because I'm a mechanic. I work on them a lot. I'll go, yeah, I can see why this was a $10,000 car.
Yeah,
yeah.
$10,000 neon. Just kidding.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I see a lot of those.
Well,
Well,
that's for current stuff, not old Chrysler versus Ford versus GM. It's different argument back then. You know, the
Right.
'60s, '70s. It's definitely a different game. But once they got into like smog era and fuel efficiency and all of that, everyone
Oh
just,
yeah.
you know, everyone
yeah,
shot the
for
bed at
sure.
one point. I mean, at that point, it's like you're looking at like a dartboard and there's like two good ones for each one out of everything.
Right.
You know, like Ford's trucks have always been true, I think. Like Ford's, other than the Swiss cheese frames they had in the early '80s, they've been
Yeah.
pretty good overall.
Well,
But
and '04 150 has possibly the worst motor ever made. Uh, I mean, they some of them would get 300,000 miles, some of them get 300,000 feet. So '04 is the year you got to watch out for. But other than that, I mean,
Triton,
like you said,
5.4.
it was the 4.6 Triton?
Oh,
Four
okay.
six never had an issue. No, the 4.6, the badge on that, they put Triton on 4.6s, but they weren't actually any different. They were the same thing as a Crown Vic motor, but the 5.4 is the one where the spark plugs would blow out and then it would get stuck in the head or whatever.
Yeah, it must be the 5.4 then.
Yeah, the 5.4 has major recalls, and yeah, I agree. It was a terrible engine. It was for past 04 actually. It was through like 08, 09.
Right. Yeah, they kind of improved on it a little bit, but they didn't want to spend a couple $1 million on researching a new engine, which would have saved them a couple $1 million in recall. So it's like, okay,
Yeah.
something's got to add up here.
Yeah, Advance Auto and O'Reilly both have a kit to extract these spark plugs for those motors. They have a kit, a loaner kit you can pay with your credit card like any other loaner tool. There's like a specialized kit of if this happens to your truck, we have a kit for it.
That would suck.
Yeah, that would not be fun.
Mm-mm.
What
So
do you guys think of the new? Sorry, go ahead, Walker. No, you first.
All right.
Okay.
I bought a 2004 F-150 in like 2015 with 70,000 miles on it, super low, but it was at 5.4. So I was paranoid every time I drove it because of that issue. But it purred like a kitten. It was fine.
Yeah, I mean, some of them can last forever.
Yeah, but then I've sat in other ones that like rock like a boat the whole time you're in it. They're like, oh, it's normal. So I wouldn't say 2004 is the worst year just because it was other years too, but it's definitely that engine in general that's had a lot of issues.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you guys think of the new Ford trucks they're coming out with the
electric ones?
All aluminum. Well, all the new ones are aluminum, right?
They're all aluminum and they're basically a unibody with no frame. It just all is kind of built in together, which I don't know. Personally, I think a steel frame under me is more safe than what they're telling me as a unibody.
Mm-hmm.
But they can't lie. So, well, they could, but you know.
Look at Volkswagen on the MPG thing not that long ago.
80 miles to the gallon. I don't see a lie there. Better mileage than a Prius.
I'll tell you though, it'd be really nice if I could have a full-size truck that got the same mileage as like my Jetta on a regular basis. That would be cool. Where you could actually drive it all the time.
Yeah, but Bryce, how much is gas out there and how much are you driving right now?
Yeah, I mean, if it stays like this, I mean, shoot, I was kind of toying with the idea of trading in for like a V8 or something, but I'm like, well, if it goes back next year, like once we get a vaccine or something, you know.
Get a if you want to get a truck, a workhorse. My friend just got a 2016 150 with a 2.7 EcoBoost twin turbo. So if you stomp on it, that thing is gonna outrun a Camaro. I'll put money on it. But he's get 28 miles to the gallon on the highway.
Those EcoBoosts are pretty impressive.
It is pretty
impressive. And right now I've heard it's truck season in terms of actually buying. Like they're dirt cheap. I've heard from multiple people who have bought them and shopped them out compared to what they were a year ago. Yeah.
Well, with this whole COVID thing now, it's like the gift cards away just to get somebody to.
Yeah.
Like, please buy something.
Box
Can I do a permanent
Purell and Lysol wipes.
Exactly.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind a new Ford truck. That'd be pretty cool.
Well, the 2019 numbers just came out, and Ford exceeded every expectation. They're the number one selling here, and then Ram is here. There's a big drop, and then it goes Chevy and the Tundra, or the Tacoma, excuse me.
Nice.
So the Ram is actually, I kind of like I'm not sold on the whole eco diesel thing. That seems a little bit, I don't want to be that guy who drives a diesel, but I need a diesel. Just get a Cummins. What are you doing?
Yeah.
They're supposed to be good engines, but
You want to roll coal if you want to that weekend.
Well,
Yeah.
if you want to, not with the DEF system, but if you want to roll coal, go get a 7.3 Power Stroke.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you guys ever watch Weston? What's his last name? All he deals with is just diesel trucks, and he put
Weston Chaplin or Chapman?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
something like that. And he put that diesel engine in that Mustang. Did you guys see that by chance?
Oh yeah, I love that. He put and then the best one he bought was the 5-ton military truck.
Yeah, that was pretty cool too. Wait, was that
yeah.
the one that caught on fire or something, or the wheels kept catching on fire?
Yeah, the wheel bearing caught on fire. That's why I'm like, okay, we're replacing my truck's wheel bearings because I'm not having that happen.
Yeah, I'm not there yet with my truck. Hopefully it'll run by the end of the year. That would be nice.
And stop.
And stop.
Yeah, exactly. That was the first video I saw of his.
Oh, no brakes? That's so funny.
No brakes.
I wish I would have recorded more of the but like once I lost the brakes, I kind of put the camera down because I was a little more like focused on the driver.
Yeah.
Screw YouTube.
Yeah, it worked out pretty good. The only part that made me nervous is so the brakes went out and I still had 2 streets I had to turn to go like back to my house. And I'm like, if somebody comes flying around this corner, I don't know what I'm gonna do, and I didn't have a horn. Oh, I didn't even think about that. My horn's disconnected, so I would have just plowed through.
Granny gear.
Yeah, I definitely downshifted quite a bit. But yeah, that was fun. So
Do you have a parking brake?
Nope. Mm-mm.
Oh, that's nice.
It makes for an exciting time,
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It definitely sobers you up or puts you on your feet if that happens. You're like, okay, this is real.
It'll make you a better driver.
Drove a 59 Ford truck into my neighbor's yard of their previous house because the brakes went out. I was pulling in the driveway and I was going to the garage. I'm like, fuck, this thing's not stopping. I just curved through our yard and then to the neighbor's yard and then end up having to put it in the park and then have some friends come over to push it back into my yard. It was automatic, so it did have park at least. But
yeah,
I guess that's one perk of auto you never hear. But
yeah, I know.
You can always slam it in the park and let it, or reverse and let the gears just grind and at least stop you.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point.
Personally,
I don't know.
I'd rather just gear down. It may burn out the clutch, but at least I'll save my differential and transmission.
Well, just aim for a Prius. If you can't stop, just
there you go.
I mean, they're like a pillow. They won't scratch your car, which is nice.
Especially with my truck's bumper.
Yeah, I don't think anything would scratch that truck's bumper.
Well, if it did, I'll just go get what my grandfather did and just more rattle cans.
Yeah, more Rust-Oleum.
Exactly. Some Bondo.
Yeah, he's got the huge brush guard on there. It's pretty awesome.
It's got 3-inch thick steel plates, so nothing's getting through it.
Well, and the good thing is it probably helps with your gas mileage too, So
Oh, that thing is so aerodynamic. It's just, what you want is like a cab over Peterbilt. It's just a solid wall. And then when you've got a big 300 straight 6 under the hood and the truck already weighs 8,000 pounds, a solid 9 is downhill with the engine off.
Downhill with the engine off.
Oh, yeah. Tell you what, though, over this restoration, you can say the same thing, Mr. DeCastro. Our trucks have gotten fantastic gas mileage.
Definitely.
This is the longest a tank has lasted me ever.
Yeah, I'm a little worried that my gas has gone bad at this point.
I was worried with mine too, but if you're running the original fuel tank, it's lead lined, so you probably have a little lead in it, which will probably actually help the engine, but it doesn't really go bad.
That's good. Well, that's good. I've seen some of these guys have been taking these old trucks and they buy like a total, not the Chevy Volt or like some of these like hybrid cars, and they put them on top of them. What do you guys think about that? You think that's the next hot rodding thing? People converting classic cars to electric?
No, I think that's how we see an uptick in murder cases. Oh, did I say that out loud? Here, you can edit that part out. Yeah. No,
Yeah, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. Well, I was reading this thing that the Tesla owners are getting headaches from driving their Tesla. I'm like, I wouldn't be that surprised because you're sitting on a battery. I mean, the whole car is basically a battery.
Exactly. Acid
I mean,
exposure.
Well, they I think it was last week they announced basically the crate motor for Teslas. You could put in any classic or whatever with adapters and whatnot. You just have to figure out the battery situation. But the engine bay would have a bit of room for someone to engineer some batteries that fit nicely in the engine bay. And you should look it up because this thing's not very big. It's your whole transfer case. It's everything in basically a large battery pack looking thing, but it's a motor and it just powers the car as long as you have the battery there. So I could definitely see a future where like people engineer, they already like tub out the back of a car for the drag strip or whatever. You could easily figure out where to store some batteries once that becomes affordable and reliable and do that. I'm not saying that's what needs to be done, but then you have to worry about your heater, your AC, not AC, but even just your heater and I guess your power steering and your brake booster. You have to generate some vacuum there. So, but I think it'll happen. I think there will be like Summit will be selling conversion kits for cars at some point for you to drop in, like just like a crate motor of electric.
See, the only thing is, what if those things explode or something? Like they haven't really been tested that long. That's the only thing. Is like the combustion engine's been around forever, so everybody kind of knows what's up. It's already been tested a million times.
And none of them have ever lit on fire due to a carb overflow.
Right.
No, that never happens. In the videos of mine, the videos of mine that are on YouTube of me catching on fire, those were all actors, definitely. I don't have any scars on my arm. Well, but remember,
I'm not being facetious, Bryce. I'm just saying, there's pros and cons. It's like I'd rather the motor burn up and start smoking than an actual fire under the hood.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah, right.
Or a battery. I mean, so where's the battery stored? If it's under the hood, if it explodes, it's under the hood. The firewall should at least, even an old car's firewall should at least shield you a bit. It's not a battery explosion is usually just like the seam cracks open and it's an explosion, but it's not like a little.
It's the acid that catches things on fire.
Yeah.
But do batteries actually explode, or is it just like a leak kind of deal?
It depends on what it is. Usually it bursts at some point due to pressure, and the seam will bust open. So if it's in your pocket or if it's in your backpack, there's like a risk, like a lead acid battery, your phone's battery could overheat if the software wasn't regulating it or whatever, and it could hurt you, but it's not going to kill you. It's not like an actual pipe bomb or something. It's just and stuff. So, but if that's sitting in your engine bay, I would only imagine it's fairly safe? ?
Yeah.
But I've seen a forklift battery explode on somebody, and he got a bunch of because when battery acid hits air, it turns into that powder, and or more condensed, and it blew up on his face, and it covered his entire face in that powder, and it was pretty bad. His face kind of fell off in chunks.
Oh.
So, yeah, I stopped watching the video about a minute in.
So what happened to his face after the chunks?
I don't know. I stopped watching the video. I didn't want to watch it anymore.
I guess a bit. I'm thinking in the small term sense, but a big battery, yes, could have some projection on this. But like if you were going to do that to your car, it's probably not a big deal to. I'm going to say Dynamat, but it's not Dynamat. Some sort of protection, fire,
like insulator.
Yeah, some sort of thing. I bet there will be a kit in like 10, 15 years that you can order it. I'm not saying I'm buying it, but I bet it'll happen.
Yeah, I'm just surprised they didn't, instead of making the Tesla car, I'm surprised they didn't make a truck, because you could just put it under, where the bed of the truck would go. You could put all the batteries there. At least you're not sitting on them,
You could still,
Well,
like a classic truck, you could build, like, let's say you had a custom long bed Chevy or even short bed. It's like you just build it like 6 inches tall, this giant layer that lays in the bed, and then a panel over it. And you don't miss that real estate, and that's your battery or something.
Yeah. I have mixed feelings on it though. I don't know if I could ever buy a car like that. I still like the good old combustion engine.
oh yeah, the sound of an engine trying to get going on a cold morning, and I mean there might be some smoke involved, but that's why we have trees, you know.
But okay, but you know how they take the Crown Vics and they take the bodies off the Crown Vics and they put the trucks on there, right? You guys have seen that? I'm just saying, in theory, couldn't you do that with like a Volt or one of those other? I mean, Tesla's too expensive to buy one to do that, but like a wrecked Volt or something, like the less cooler ones or whatever, take the body off and put it on.
I think most of those guys would take the Crown Vic over the Bolt though right now.
No, I'm saying if you want to do that electric swap or whatever.
Oh,
Well, in
they'll have to figure out all the
1 to 2 years,
That's a bit more messy. A Crown Vic body with engine is a bit easier to wire up the stuff and figure out your linkage and the pedal and stuff versus a very electric car. I don't know.
Yeah, no, that's true.
but like there's an electric F-150 coming out, a full electric, in a couple years, 1 to 2 years. And the thing actually looks pretty cool. And again, it can outpull any gas engine they have. But my only thing is, this has been around for about a minute.
Yeah.
And I don't think we should go all in on this, just like we didn't go all in on internal combustion, because eventually we're going to find out, oh, lead gas kills people, you know. So, and until a wind turbine can power more than a pump in my fish tank, and I don't even have a fish tank, it can do more than that. But you know, it's still, if they can make an electric car the same, if not cheaper, than a gas car, until that point, I'm good with my gas engine.
Yeah. Yeah, I
I don't
agree.
think we're far off for that though. For the cost, like Tesla's willing to lose money over giving you a car right now. Like,
well, their windows are top notch.
But to Brooks' point, it can only take one thing to set that back quite a bit. You know, like let's say they did discover that it was causing cancer from sitting on the batteries or something. You know what I mean? Then, you know, I don't know.
You guys see this past week, Model Y's roof fell off or like flew off. The guy had it a couple hours in California. He bought a brand new like Model Y Tesla, and literally he took this video on Twitter. He's like, "Oh, my roof's gone. I guess it's convertible." And he tweeted Elon Musk, and the whole glass roof flew off of like the 405.
Wow.
Ouch.
Can you imagine? Guys don't have experience building cars too, like the other guys. You know, they haven't been all through all the trial and error and like seeking the perfect method.
Well, and another thing, what happens in a rollover crash? I don't want glass above me. I want steel.
That's a good point. That's actually a really good point. Yeah. Well, my thing is they say, oh, well, electric is supposed to be so much better for the environment, but the metals and stuff that they have to mine for to make these batteries, it's like the same thing. Like, is it really that much better? Or, you know, I don't.
It's worse. It's worse to manufacture a Prius than an F-150. So,
and all the power you're charging your Prius, or not your Prius, that's a bad example, but anything purely electric, anything you're charging comes from
coal plant.
Yeah.
Exactly. So,
you know what they should do? We should just go the Cuba route, where once you have a couple cars, that's it. You just have to keep fixing your cars.
Yeah.
You can't buy more.
No, I was working with a coworker of mine at the shop, and we had to do this fuel pump. Fuel pump was probably that big, 3 or 4 inches long on this old, well, it wasn't old, it was an '06 Chrysler, and it took us 3.5 hours to get to the pump, and the pump took 10 minutes. And I'm going, I wish I could be a mechanic back in 1955. I mean, it would be so much fun. Just in and out, boom, you're done. Carburetor, done.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely a lot
Everything was
easier.
fairly universal back then too. Like,
Right. Yeah. You could put a Chevrolet part on a Dodge and be good to go.
yeah, if it's a fuel pump or, I mean, not really a oil filter, but just basic stuff, you could jerry rig it, and it would
Oh, yeah.
work. It wouldn't hurt it. It would not be ideal, but
Yeah.
Well, when you have fuel leaking onto the exhaust manifold, you know, that's more of a suggestion that you don't do that, but it's not a rule.
yeah, a drip every now and then that evaporates immediately is fine. Won't kill anyone.
It just lets you know that you have good fuel pressure. That's all it
Yeah.
does.
Hey, speaking with this electric car thing, since this is a Ford Chevy thing, we're talking electric versus gas. The what about the fact you spend $100,000 on these cars, and then in 3 years they're not worth anything? I mean, it's not like you go trade it in. You're gonna have to like pay for the entire car, right?
Yeah, pretty
You can
much.
get what I mean? Like, yeah. Like, who's gonna want to buy an old Tesla that's already got a bunch of miles on it, since nobody knows the
Because
battery length?
Yeah.
because I mean, you can tell us better than anybody. You can rebuild a gas engine. You can rebuild it in your driveway, really. I mean, you get a kit, but you can't. The engines for Tesla are so, that's what's expensive. The body isn't. That's what's expensive.
Right.
And to go get another one, it's like it's a push to get a new one, and you can't rebuild that at all. I
Yeah.
mean, you could put new components on it, but yeah. So and with
I
their
guess it's
Tesla
like
has a
I guess it's like cell phones, right? Like you have a phone that's a few years old. You're trading it in, you're getting rid of it, and someone's going to probably use it somewhere. But you're not
Right.
relying on that thing being up to date in 6 years, 7 years. There's a reason
right.
you're upgrading your phone. It's
Well,
What
and
do they
speaking
do
of,
with the old phones?
they have a
what?
core deposit you can put towards the new one.
No, but I mean, like, what do they do with those old things? I guess just recycle them.
So
They
like
probably light
Apple,
them
for
on fire.
example, if you trade it into Apple, they literally destroy it and mine the metals. They have these machines that just pull the valuable metals and items out of it, and then just destroy it, and then
Uh,
recoup that cost. And they're actually taking a loss on each one, but they're good for the environment or whatever.
right.
But they're but the other markets do resell it to other people who. There's a lot of people who like they see a phone for $1,000 and their phone for 300. They're buying a $300 phone, but they want an iPhone, so whatever.
Right.
Uh,
Well, and like
yeah,
also a few years back, this was maybe 4 or 5 years ago. Y'all remember those Samsung phones? The batteries were just exploding. I think it was the 7 or whatever, the Galaxy 7. They were just
yeah.
blowing up in people's pockets. And they said it was the best phone they ever manufactured. And like 6 months after that statement, they were blowing up.
Yeah, I
So
bet electric cars are going to be very similar to cell phones, more similar than to gas cars, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah.
well,
And
but
what
like
in 20 years, what do you do with a 20-year-old cell phone? Like,
Yeah,
what
I
do you
know,
do with a
right?
20-year-old electric car? You're like, the
put it
battery's
in the
done. It's not worth
Smithsonian.
replacing. Yeah, put it with your Nokia in the drawer.
But it's like with if you've got a 5-year-old cell phone, I've never bought into the getting a new thing as soon as it comes out. But I got my cell phone 2 years ago or a year ago, and it works fine. I'm not going to replace it. But I feel like electric cars will have that mentality of, oh, you haven't gotten a new Tesla yet. Where I'm driving a 46-year-old truck, and people are like, right on, man. So I think
Yeah.
it's kind of going to have that mentality of, oh, you're in a 3-year-old Tesla. Poor kid alert. So it's I don't know where it's going to go because it hasn't been out very long. But the people that I know that have Teslas have that mentality. So that might be the type of person that buys that. I don't know.
Well, you're not allowed to work on Teslas either, right? Like, you have to take them to the Tesla dealership, I think.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
So it's not
And
even like
speaking,
you could just swap them out.
Well, what are you going to work on? You can't do an oil change. I mean, really, I don't know. Put in some blinker fluid now and again, but I don't. Other than that, I don't know what else to do.
have you guys ever driven one?
I did.
I've driven in one.
I got very briefly, and I put my foot down, and I mean, it'll pin you back.
Yeah. Yeah. The first time I sat in one, I was like, you start the car, you hit the start button, you don't hear anything. That was weird. But
Right.
then
Oh yeah.
you rev the gas while you're sitting there. You're like, oh yeah, there's not going to be an engine. And then, but I mean, once we were on the highway, once we were going, there was a piece of me in the back of my mind that was like, what's it going to take for me to buy one of these things? Like, they are attractive in that way, like, because they are a fine piece of, or they are a fine automobile, if you will say, whatever you classify that as. Like, and I'm not a go green person whatsoever myself. I don't care about the environment aspect or even the money aspect, but the fact that that fucker's so fast and so efficient and so precision, you could just tell it's very respectable when you're driving it.
And that's the only way you could hook me in with electric cars is how fast they can go. Because I mean, that is appealing. You know what I mean? Like all right.
It's scary, dude, because it just takes you there. Oh, I want to be up there. I'm there.
Yeah, I know, right? Seriously.
Well, you don't hear the engine chugging. You don't hear an engine like struggling. You're like, nope, we're there. What else do you want?
I mean, you know, your truck has a massive 5.9 liter V8, so I can't imagine Frankenstein's all that slow. But yeah, it definitely couldn't compare to a Tesla.
Yeah. Well, I've seen guys race those like at drag strips against people that have, you know, really nice setups or whatever, and they'll stomp them just because it's like instant power. So
yeah, it's like with steam. It's direct drive pretty much.
I mean, it's just pure torque. It's all it does.
Yeah,
it doesn't have to spool up. It's right then.
Yeah.
I mean, so Bryce, I encourage you, if you have a place around you, like a dealership, you probably do, you should go try one. And just don't bring your credit card or anything that could, you know, possibly be put on it.
See, I've been doing pretty good the last 3 or 4 years. I have to kind of avoid dealerships because I go in, I fall in love with whatever, and then I'm like, oh, let me buy this thing, you know, like up until we had Shiloh, I think I had like 15 different cars just because I would trade them in. You know, it's like a really bad habit. And then so finally, when we had Shiloh, I finally calmed down. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna like actually pay this thing off. Drive, you know. Obviously, Frankenstein I would never get rid of, but like as far as like the daily driver, you know. So I don't go to dealerships too often.
Well, what I'm going to do when I get my truck is I'm going to make a whole video of it. Right, not too far from our house is a Ferrari dealership, and they said we'll trade in and they give 10% on it. They give 10% off on a Ferrari when you bring your car in. So I'm going to bring my truck in, and technically, if I were to trade it in, they would pay me $60,000 for my truck.
Really?
You know. 10% off if you trade in your vehicle, but I think they're more thinking
$600,000 Ferrari.
Exactly, they're gonna more bring in, you know, a nicer or a lot newer car, not an old farm truck.
That's interesting. Just see if they'll just buy it, just without buying the Ferrari.
Or just see if they're hiring for shuttle drivers, and then you could just zip around whatever.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay. I have a bench seat, so I can haul 2 people, and if they need a Ferrari, you know, I can go pick them up, and they'll be like, "This is what Ferrari sends me."
Well, they have that what's that app where you can rent people's cars? Turo.
Uber. Yeah.
Yeah, and like you can do that. I don't know if they have Ferraris on there. It's probably like $1,000 for 1 hour, but.
Well, but my only thing is, what's the liability on that? You know, you get a drunk that rents your car, and next thing you know, the headlights are facing one another and it's wrapped around a pole. I think
you have to give a. I haven't done it, but I think they give a percentage of each transaction for the insurance or something like that.
Yeah, no, it's sure. I know that. You as a driver and you as the provider, you don't have to deal with your personal insurance and whatnot. I've never done it, but I've looked into it a little bit.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. Well, there's some stuff I wouldn't mind driving just for fun, but I wouldn't necessarily like that slingshot, that Polaris slingshot. Like I probably don't want to buy it because I'm not gonna use it all.
I do. I want it so bad.
But those
things are expensive though.
Yeah, it's like 16, 20 grand.
Yeah, like 20, I thought.
Yeah.
But
And
it
do you
does.
have to wear a helmet where you guys are? Because I know different states require different things. Like some
Mm-mm.
states,
No, Texas doesn't.
That's
that'd be a
good.
fun ride. I mean, that's like
Yeah.
super safe motorcycle basically, or go kart outside.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. They kind of look
They're
like the
freaking fast.
pedals, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind one. But you can rent them on that Turo thing for $100. I mean, shit.
Sounds like a Project Frankenstein video to me.
I know, right?
Taking Frankenstein to go pick up a slingshot and pulling the Frankenstein with the slingshot.
Once I stop hemorrhaging car parts, I'll probably be.
Yeah.
Dude, I feel like I'm buying parts like almost daily now. It's ridiculous.
Well, it'll all be worth it when you can eat off of your valve covers.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, I'm gonna do that no matter what, you know. But
Yeah, if they're grease covered or whatever. You get you some SpaghettiOs and put it down the carburetor.
oh man, I was thinking more of a sandwich. SpaghettiOs are gonna be pretty messy.
They'll burn off.
There's a classic car cooking cookbook for road trips I have somewhere. My dad got it for me, and it was legit like from the 70s. It was on your trip basically in your car, how to cook on the car, and it was put the can of SpaghettiOs on your intake manifold, put a bag of water in front of your radiator, keep it cool, and like legit like. And this was an actual like life hacks for the time for like the the station wagons of the time. And
Yeah.
when we moved across country in the Bronco I remember my parents having SpaghettiOs in the engine bay and getting them and they were hot. Like that was still a hack they did from back then.
That's pretty cool. I would probably try that. I mean, yeah, because you could just put the can there, right? It's not gonna hurt anything.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember too. It was freaking Ninja Turtles with meatballs SpaghettiOs. Like I remember precision. But the bag of water is cool in front of the radiator. It actually provides cool water, stuff like that when it's hot out.
That is pretty cool. I
Restricts your airflow to the radiator, but as long as you have a decent car.
Yeah.
Long as that fan's spinning, you're fine.
Yeah.
I wonder if you could do that on something as simple as like a lawnmower. Like just put a can on your lawnmower while you're mowing the lawn.
Lawnmower cooking. That's a new YouTube channel.
Okay. Welcome to the first episode of Why I Went to Jail. But I mean, how desperate you got to be for lunch where you're cooking as you mow? How pressed for time are you where you're taping SpaghettiOs to the front of your mower?
And there's no other efficient way like a granola bar or something.
No, that's just, oh, honey, I forgot to mow the yard overnight, over the
I
weekend.
bet this Google search is untapped. I bet this is rich, what we're talking about.
This is gold. Somebody's got
this is copyrighted.
Yeah.
If I had a lawnmower, I would do it, honestly.
Hey, I just rebuilt mine, and all I'm saying is I think I got a can of SpaghettiOs in there. Stay tuned. Quint's Garage.
I'd watch
How would I attach it, though? I could put it on the muffler, or I could put it on the head. Mower? It's a Briggs & Stratton push mower.
Zip ties or duct tape. That's the answer to everything.
I mean, I would just tuck it in between like the cup part where the engine sits and just let it sit there and see what happens. Take the label off, probably.
No, that adds flavor. You want that to seep through. Little adhesive never hurt.
Dude, you can zip tie. It's not going to melt the zip ties, would it?
As long as I put it up here where the pulley is. If I put it up where the pulley is and then suspended it down and it rested on either the muffler or the head, that could work.
I'm just saying. Well, so we're actually at an hour.
You're ready to shoot the video, Quint. You're like,
oh, I'm full on thinking about it right now. I'll be right back. Hang on, hold my beer.
Well, if anybody's watching right now, and if you make the video, I'll put the link in this video in the description.
Okay. Let's see. The hard part is going to be explaining to my mom why there's SpaghettiOs splattered on the front of the house. But other than that,
no, don't put it underneath. You put it on the engine part.
No, I'm saying when it, boils and just. But what I want to try is like putting it on the exhaust pipe of my truck and driving it like 2-3 miles and then pulling over and seeing what it does.
Yeah.
Because I don't think I could put it on my intake because mine is a straight, so it doesn't rest.
Yeah. Just put a hole for steam for it to vent. You'd be fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
Well, we're at an hour. If we go much past this, I won't be able to upload it because the file will be too big. But hopefully the next video will be a can of SpaghettiOs on a lawnmower.
Yeah.
Or exhaust tailpipe.
Well, when I send you a picture of half my face is burned and it has SpaghettiOs still on it, you'll know maybe we shouldn't talk about that anymore and move to the next idea.
Would it have been worth it, though? That's the question.
Well, I never said it wouldn't be. I just said maybe we shouldn't, research into that anymore of making a granola bar on a lawnmower thing.
And if you do this, you definitely want to put it on TikTok tastefully also. You
I'm
need to
not on
get all the
any
kids.
social media.
No, you need to get it needs to be on like where it spreads like wildfire.
Yeah, that would be a viral video for sure.
Yeah, that would. It's like literally a life hack. Just, hey, if you guys are out mowing, at least you have some SpaghettiOs waiting for you.
Exactly.
And it has to be because anytime you go explain how you got your face burned, nobody's going to believe you if there's not a video. You know what I mean?
How'd you burn your face again? Oh, yeah, SpaghettiOs blew up after I cooked them on my mower. The sane asylum's right up the road if you want to check yourself in. They're hiring.
I'm just saying, if I saw that title on a video, I would click it.
Well, I would go, this has to be clickbait. Let me watch.
Yeah, I don't see many titles with the word SpaghettiOs in it anyway, so it's definitely
and lawnmower. Yeah.
Well, I guess we determined that Ford is better than Chevy.
Well, I think it'll be backwards, but basically what I've deciphered is Ford equals good and Chevy is bad. So we're doing a giveaway. If you comment down below that Ford is gooder, you won't get this in the mail. So, go ahead, like and subscribe.
I love it. Everybody's channel links will be below as well. And thank you guys. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having us.
We'll talk soon.
See you guys.